Hey, what's happening everyone? Boylon here, and just here to give you a quick video update about what's going on with the Sinister 6 and Avengers, as we did get final kit releases with numbers for Doctor Octopus, Swarm, and Electro, who is officially confirmed for this patch coming Wednesday. On top of this, we do have some slight reworks for the Wave 1 Avengers, which I admit, after looking at it briefly, looks more to be for newer players possibly, and or making them suck a bit less to get those blitz wins or in other game modes. But we'll get to it as we go through it, and I'll give some of my thoughts as we go. So this was a bit of a last minute thing, and I wasn't really all that prepped for it, so let's jump on over and take a look. Alright, so these are going to be the official kit details slash numbers for the characters Dr. Octopus, Swarm, and Electro for this patch here. We already do have the numbers from Baron Zemo. That was mentioned in a blog post about a week and a half ago. So if you need to see him there, then go back to the blog post and check him out there, or watch one of my videos that I mentioned about Baron Zemo. But we're going to start off the list with Dr. Octopus here at the top. So our traits are Villain, City, Tech, Support, Spider-Verse, Sinister 6, and Legendary. Now they are adding this new Legendary trait in. That was mentioned in the last blog post. They said it was to, to clear up any confusion about who's legendary and who's not. Part of me has the, I was going to make a separate video on this, but I had the suspicion that legendary characters having the trait there might, restrict them from being used, and I'm hoping it's not Dark Dimension 4, but part of me thinks that maybe they might do something more with this tag than what meets the eye. But we'll have to wait and see about that. So his basic, Tentacle Slam. Attack primary target for 320% damage, plus apply slow for 2 turns. This attack cannot be dodged. So it's a pretty basic, but the slow's nice. Unfortunately, it's just for 1 target, but it's not too bad otherwise, and can't be dodged. So hey, that just reminds me of if you're fighting those pesky Spider-Mans or Vision or anything like that, can't dodge that. And his special Sinister Recharge. So if you guys remember from the Swarm kit, this is exactly where it comes in here. So this is a turn 1 ability move. Apply +3 charged up to a maximum of 10 to self and all charged allies. Summon a missing Sinister 6 ally from the following list. So this was the list that we talked about in the blog post on Friday. So Shocker being on the top of the list, and then we go Vulture, Rhino, Green Goblin, Mysterio. So it's gonna check if you're using all of the Sinister 6, then it's gonna go through all of these characters and check one by one if you have them, and if you don't, then it's gonna summon them. So for me, I only have a 2 red star Shocker, so to be honest, I'm gonna bench Shocker, and then I'm just gonna assume that he's gonna be summoned all the time for my Doc Ock when I get him. So I'm just gonna level the other ones instead of him. Now, if the missing Sinister 6 ally is already summoned, fill that character's speed bar by 100%. So I have this feeling that this is if you get around to this move for a second time, that instead of doing another summon, it's not going to summon Shocker twice. It's just going to fill the speed bar of that summon for 100%. Apply 3 regeneration to self and all allies, and in war, apply 3 regeneration for 2 turns instead. So I actually quite like this because it's not war offense or war defense. You get to decide where you want to put them. And I have a feeling that once Dr. Octopus gets released, that a lot of people have a hard time figuring out how to counter newer characters. So you might actually get some use out of this on the defense as well. There's a bit of sustainability here with the regen, so there might be something to it. Either you want to go on the offense or the defense. I think that'll depend on what characters you want to use with the team, though, because I think some are a bit better on defense or offense based on their ability, energy, and all that. But in a whole separate video, I'll probably end up going through the Sinister 6 and sort of who is good for what kind of thing. So his ultimate, Superior Villain, energy cost 3 out of 5. So this is a turn 2 move. Attack all enemies for 300% damage, plus flip 2 positive effects to negative effects. Each target has all negative effects prolonged by a duration of 1. So I'm thinking he might be a little bit on the slow end. The only thing we don't actually have is we don't have his stats, so we don't actually have his speed necessarily here. But I think that it sounds very likely that a lot of the Sinister 6, with the exception of Green Goblin and Rhino, are a bit on the faster end, so he'll probably be able to extend all the useful ones anyways, so we'll have to see though. It's passive, Master Planner. On turn, if this is a lot of text here. On turn, if charged, apply +1 deflect and speed up to a maximum of 5 to self and all adjacent allies, then lose 1 charge. So placement's really going to matter with Doc Ock, because you're going to want I guess those heavy hitters probably to be next to him to get those deflect and speed up for the survivability and getting around to his turn. So I'm thinking probably the newer characters like Electro and Swarm, when you get them, are probably going to want to be there, since they'll probably be a little bit stronger than the others. On block, Heal self and all Sinister 6 allies for 10% of this character's max health. In war, 20% instead. In war, when this character or a chargeable Sinister 6 ally drops below 20% health, fill that character's speed bar by 100% and clear heal block. Now, I think the only actual chargeable characters that are going to be for this team is going to be Swarm and Electro. I'm pretty sure... I don't think Shocker has it. I'm not too sure, but I don't think the rest of them have charge, so I think it's just going to be those two. In war, gain 15% damage. Chargeable allies gain 15% damage, and then gain 20% block chance. Sinister 6 allies gain 20% block chance. 40% max health. Allies get 40% max health. And then 10,000% resistance against offense down. And then all allies gain 10% resistance against offense down. So, you know, I'm not thinking about anyone in particular off of the top of my head. You know, maybe Yo-Yo, you know, who's going to be applying that. Let's say if you have them on defense and someone's trying to use Inhumans, then you're probably going to resist the offense down. I don't know how many characters off the top of my head that I'm thinking about that applies offense down that this would be relevant to. Obviously, it's great. I just haven't really thought too much about who that would be blocking necessarily. Max health is great, of course, and the block chance is pretty cool. I guess this would be on top of Vulture, is it? I thought Vulture had some sort of block chance as well, but so that could be interesting. Anyway, so that is Doc Ock, and it is quite the kit. A fair bit of war text, but there is also text towards all. So it's not all Sinister 6 allies. There's a lot of Sinister 6 ally text, but there is some general all ally stuff. I'll probably have to do some theory crafting later on to see whether or not, you know, where does he fit in outside of War or outside of Sinister 6. A lot of legendary characters, you know, they've had some standalone value, and will Doc Ock? You know, I don't think he's a Black Bolt. You know, he's not someone who can just be dragged and dropped as well as Black Bolt can be in terms of use all over the place. I think he's going to be more on par with, like, Invisible Woman, you know. It was a good legendary character, but I don't think it's like game-breaking or, you know, mega OP by any means. So I'm hoping that they actually make the X-Force characters more farmable so that we can actually get him unlocked. I don't think he deserves to be super paywall blocked, because I don't think he is like super overpowered. And to be honest, Sinister 6 was never a really super OP team anyway, so I don't see why this can't be, you know, just like the Fantastic Four. It was a war offense team. I don't see why this can't be more accessible to everyone. So fingers crossed, guys. You know, I really hope that the X-Force characters become more farmable, but we'll have to soon see as the time goes on. So now we have Swarm. We've seen this from the blog post on Friday where we had the actual, all the text here, but now we have the actual numbers. So I wanted to go over this very quickly here. So you can see the traits here. What I do want to point out is the damage that he does to himself if he doesn't have charge. So if you guys remember that he starts with 4 charge on spawn here, on spawn gain plus 4 charge from his passive, and then he loses 1 charge every time he uses an attack, and eventually when he has 0, he damages himself. So here for the basic, he damages himself for 300%, and then 400% for the special, and then 500% for the ultimate, which I want to say would probably kill him. So, you know, I think my big gripe, I guess, with Swarm is that I don't know how great he's going to be outside of using him with Doc Ock. And this is a character that sort of makes him more reliant on another character, with a legendary at that. So I am a little bit disappointed in that way, that, you know, you might be able to use him temporarily, you know, if you can finish a battle within 4 turns before that becomes an issue. And I see that could happen in Blitz, and maybe in war offense and something like that, where it's a very short-term match. But aside from that, he doesn't really have any long-term use, maybe not even in war defense, because in war defense, you know, charges actually do carry over from one attack, from one battle to the next. So if you don't have Doc Ock for like war defense, for example, don't use him there at all. But you know, the numbers aren't too bad. He gets 50% drain on his basic, which actually seems like a fair bit. It's not 100%, but you know, it's still pretty good. And his kit's not too bad overall. It's just, I think that you're gonna really need to have Doc Ock to make him relevant, or he just might kind of suck. For newer players though, because he is an event campaign coming, you might actually be able to get him to 4 or 5 star, and that might actually help you for the, because he's a Sinister 6 and Sinister 6 and Spider-Verse character, so you can use him towards unlocking Shuri and Invisible Woman as well. So if you manage to push hard in the campaign and you manage to get him at 5 star, that could be a decent way for newer players or mid-tier players to get that 5 star Sinister 6 character if you haven't already. So that could be interesting too. So we'll get to Electro because this is brand new here, and if you want to look back at Swarm's kit, you know, feel free to pause it, back the way, and or look at the blog post that mentioned his kit. So Electro's brand new here. So we have a Villain, City, Bio, Blaster, Spider-Verse, Sinister 6. So another Bio character. Unfortunately, between Electro and Swarm, they're both Bio, which just kind of sucks. That's a lot of Bio gear on the back of, well, we've had a lot of mutant patches, I guess, lately. So now we're back to Bio being awesome again. Basic Electro Shock. Attack primary target for 250% damage, plus fill speed bar by 20%. So that's kind of neat. You know, again, very basic, but the speed bar by 20% is not too bad. Live Wire Special. So this is a turn 1 ability, or it's available on turn 1. Attack primary target for 300% damage, plus bonus attack for 150% damage per positive effect on the target. Now this could jump up pretty dramatically. You know, the last time someone had a bonus attack per positive effect, that reminds me of Falcon's ult, or just Falcon's kit in general. So that could actually really stack up. Now the Ultimate Chain Lightning also available on turn 1. So this is probably going to vary on, you know, what kind of team you're fighting. If you put them on defense, of course, it would default to the Ultimate. But this is quite powerful here. Attack primary target for 350% piercing, plus apply offense down for 2 turns. Attack all others for 280% piercing, plus apply offense down for 2 turns. Now in War, so this is the first bit of War text. Clear all positive effects on the primary target and clear 2 positive effects on each secondary target. So again, it's in War, not War offense or defense, so you can use this anywhere. That's pretty good, I think. You know, depending on who you're going up against, you know, anyone with on spawn sort of things, especially for offense, if you're using them on the offense rather, this could be quite strong. You know, things like the Asgardians perhaps, where they have defense up from Heimdall on spawn, so this would get rid of that. Who knows, maybe even shield other characters. There might be other teams that you could use them with, as long as you have Electro anyways. And you get 100,000% extra focus for this attack. So that's probably going to land, no problem. This attack cannot be counterattacked, so this is a really good ultimate here. And 5 out of 5 is not too bad, and it's piercing damage. So if you have a high-powered Electro, I could see this being really strong. I, for some reason, see Electro being the Blitz character for the patch, because with Blitzes, you know, you're not going to get too many... You're not going to get this character up to too high of a power level, you know, unless you really go ham on the Blitz, and that's a way to sort of, for them to scale back how many people are going to have a high-star character like this, who looks to be pretty strong. And so passive unlimited power, on turn gain +1 charged up to a maximum of 5. In War, on ally Sinister 6 turn, gain +1 charged up to a maximum of 5. So if you're using them in War, Electro's going to be getting this really, really quickly. And so at the end of any turn, if Electro has 5 or more charged, attack the most injured enemy for 300% damage and lose 5 charge. So this is an extra hit, sort of like a Deadpool special type attack. 300% damage and lose 5 charges. So in War, I could see this happening, you know, once around, because as soon as everyone goes around, you know, there's going to be 5 charges, maybe even quicker, because with Doc Ock, you know, that's going to give more charge as well. So I could see this being triggering quite frequently, which is really cool. And Electro gets +10% piercing per charged, which is... Ugh, that's pretty good. On top of all the damage that Electro already does, this is quite a bit. And just to let everyone know that this version of Electro is actually the female version of Electro, which I heard, and I was trying to figure this out, and apparently it's the Electro that is currently in the comics right now. I don't really keep up to date with the Spider-Verse, admittedly. I don't buy the comics for them right now, so I didn't know that, but I do now. So we're getting a female, like a slim, thin female Electro instead of the old, you know, the one that everyone is used to knowing about. And we did get a little bit of reworks as well for Mysterio particularly, which is pretty interesting, so we'll go over it here now as well. So the special in War, apply ability block for 2 turns and gain 100,000 extra focus for this ability. So that's just going to guarantee an ability block for 2 turns. With Mysterio, if you are using him as one of your 5 for your Sinister 6. And the passive, this is what's really cool here. One of the mirror images summoned on death has a new special ability, and this is the special ability here. If Mysterio is an ally and dead, revive him with 100% base health, and then basically killing off the clone. So he's gonna, he's gonna spawn all of his, Mysterio bots or clones or whatever you want to call them, but one of them is gonna have this ability, so you're not gonna know who that is. And then, assuming that one survives, you're gonna be able to trigger that ability, and it's gonna revive the original Mysterio for 100% health. And I assume it doesn't say once per match, so I'm assuming this could actually trigger consistent. It could repeat and happen over and over again. Now, I am a bit skeptical because the last time something like this came to my mind was like Domino, and Domino reviving Deadpool over and over again. And I know it's different, but I maybe it's not going to be as OP as people think it is. The Mysterio summons after he dies were notoriously very low HP, so like any AoE that came afterwards was more than enough to clear them out. So I think this is going to be, well, might be a bit dependent. We'll have to play it and see how it actually works in practice and how often this works. Sounds cool on paper, but is it actually going to be? I don't know. But it's still neat nonetheless. And Mysterio, needed a little bit of helping hand. Now, there were some additional changes to some other characters that we'll go over very briefly as well. But this is largely, there wasn't any changes to any of the other Sinister Six that I'm aware of, Vulture or any of the others. So this is largely it. Mysterio needed a little bit more helping hand than the others, and the kits for Electro, Swarm, and Doc Ock that we just showed off. So that was pretty cool there, and we can move on now. So we did get some minor adjustments for some of the other characters. I don't know if they really needed it, but here we are here. So Punisher got his damage stat increased by 10%. Quake got her focus increased by 5%, and Yondu as well. I don't think this makes a huge difference for Yondu. The Punisher 10% damage, I mean, if you're still using him here and there for whatever reason, it's extra damage. And Quake, I don't know if she really needed it either, but hey, whatever, it's, free stuff, sort of. But here, what we really wanted to get into is this was the new Avengers rework that it has come to the game, or is coming from the patch here, and it improves the Wave 1 Avengers is where all of the changes are being made to. Now, like I said in the beginning, I think a lot of this is going to go towards sort of helping out newer players who have these characters. I mean, there are those of us in the very late game who, I use them in Blitz, but beyond that, I don't know if I'm going to really see them. Even though I have them fairly leveled up, I don't know where I'm going to necessarily use them over another team for, like, Alliance War. Cap does have actually some text related to War, but again, like, I don't know if they're going to be necessarily better than some of the other existing teams that are out there. So a nice little nod anyways to the Avengers, because people were complaining about how crappy they were for a long time. So at least there is a slight adjustment to them, and I wouldn't say brings them in line to some of the newer teams, but elevates them a little bit anyways. And so we'll go over it here. So this is Captain America's old basic here. The new changes to his basic is basically it's chaining to 1 to 2 adjacent targets for 170% damage. Instead of the 30% chance. So now I believe it's a guaranteed chain to 1 to 2 targets, and that's all there. But it's extra damage overall from his basic, so that's pretty cool. Now his ultimate is where a lot of the shield throw, this is where a lot of it was changed. So now it's a 3 energy cooldown from 5, and now it attacks primary, so it does all the same things. It's chaining to 2 to 3 additional targets, guaranteed for 230% damage. So instead of 1 to 2, it's 2 to 3. And the energy cost, of course, is really low. Now, if this character has 1 or more Wave 1 Avenger allies, he gets 60% speed bar after chucking his shield. So, that's quite a bit. He only needs 1 character, so you can just throw whoever you have, right? Hawkeye, Hulk, Black Widow, and as we go through it, there is adjustments to them as well, including Iron Man and Thor, which is a bit strange because Iron Man and Thor both have their own team. I don't know if you're necessarily going to use them with these, but I think that's more for newer players if you don't have anywhere else to put them. But we'll see as we go through it. His passive was changed a fair bit here. So this is the old one, the block chance and the block amount. Now the new one increases that block amount by 10%, so from 10% to 20%, and now he gets plus 20% block chance per Avenger ally instead of 5. So this is like a whopping 105%. I guess if you only had 3 of them, that would be 85%, which is still pretty high, so you don't necessarily need all Avengers. On death of a Wave 1 Avenger, heal all allies for 10% of this character's max health. That's a bit strange. Again, I'm not sure where that's going to kick in, that's really going to make a huge difference. Maybe in Blitz or War if you're like really struggling. Gain 20% max health, and then Wave 1 Avengers allies gain 20% max health. So as long as you have Cap on the field, those Wave 1 Avengers are a little bit beefier than they were before. Now, in War, you're getting an additional 20%, so that goes from 20% to 40% with Cap's passive there. So that's a fair bit of health, you know, so that's going to improve their survivability if you're using them together in that. And I think the most likely ones that you will for sure use is probably Black Widow and Hawkeye as we go through the changes for them. You know, so those three together, I don't know, you know, even if you're a late game player, you're probably going to use those three together because I don't see where else you would. But yeah, whether or not you drag Iron Man and Thor out of their teams is a whole nother thing. So we'll go down here to the Black Widow adjustments. So Black Widow saw her stats increase. So stats, health by 10%, damage by 5%, focus by 18%, and resistance by 5%. And now the assist and counterattack for Black Widow has changed. So now she clears a positive effect on her target when she assists or counterattacks, and we'll see why that's relevant down below. And what largely changed here was her ultimate here. And so this is the old ultimate, this is the new one. Again, it's relatively the same text, but if a Hawkeye is an ally, a guaranteed chain to 3 targets instead of that 60%. Fortunately, counterattack still breaks this chain though, so you know there's only so much you can do. But the passive is kind of neat here. So this is the old passive and this is the new passive. What's changed is that on stealth, gain offense up, plus apply death proof to an allied Hawkeye. So it improves Hawkeye's survivability by using them together. And then every time Black Widow attacks, you're getting an assist now from Hawkeye as well here on the passive. So that's kind of neat. Hawkeye saw quite a bit of a stat improvement here. The health increased by 15%, focus by 25%. And here's what's important. The speed from 116 to 131. That's pretty big. The 131's a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure that's upper tier speed. I don't know how fast characters like Captain Marvel are, who are also really fast, but 131 is a lot. So he's going to be taking his turn a little bit quicker than he was before. Now, there was a bit of change here. So on the basic here, we got 20% crit chance. So that's up from 15%. And now he's doing 30% extra crit damage as well on top. So that's new there. But he still maintains all the rest. Attack is unavoidable. The special here, what's changed really is that the damage that's done to the primary target is now done to the adjacent targets as well for 150%. Everything is relatively the same as well. They changed the text, it seems, from this nonsense to this attack is unavoidable, because I'm pretty sure this is basically unavoidable as the text suggests anyways. They're just cleaning it up. Now the ultimate, this was changed a little bit. The energy cost got bumped up, so now it's a 3 out of 5 instead of 2 out of 5. So this is a turn 2 move instead of a turn 3 move. Now I think this was one of the big problems with Hawkeye, is because his ultimate just came way too late, and by that point it just really didn't matter. So now it should matter a little bit more, and now it has a chance to apply, or sorry, it does apply slow as well. So that actually is quite a bit. So on top of the blind to the primary target and what it already did with the rest of the blinds, it now hits all enemies for 190% damage and applies 1 turn of slow. So that's pretty cool. You know, I don't know if it's going to make a huge difference, but it's an extra debuff that, you know, I'll gladly take for Hawkeye. And his passive also got a bit of an adjustment here. On turn, attack the most injured enemy with stealth for 200% damage plus clear stealth. And gain an assist now on an allied Black Widow's turn. So now this is a guaranteed thing instead of the 50% from the old version. And then now every time that he takes a turn, there's an assist now from Black Widow. So that's kind of cool. And so this is actually just all of the text that I have right now on my own program here. But there is also some adjustments to the Hulk, to Iron Man, and to Thor. And so to show off that, we are going to jump over to the video that was actually posted by Valley Flying. So shout out to him for, you know, doing such a great video that he did. And we're going to take a look over there on YouTube to show what the rest of the text is for those. The very minor adjustments to them, but I think they're kind of neat, and so we're gonna go over there and take a look at it really quick. And so we're here over on the video on the YouTube, and I'll leave a link in the description for the video as well for here. This actually shows off quite a bit of the stuff from what I was talking about here. So this here is the special for Hulk, which was adjusted very minorly. So instead of 1 counter, you're getting 3 counter for the Hulk, and you're getting a little bit of extra healing from 15% to 20% of max health. Now his passive was changed a little bit as well. If I can find when it scrolls down here, it's quite a bit here. So When an enemy attacks a Wave 1 Avenger, fill speed bar by 15%. Now this is kind of neat because this kind of brings back the sort of idea of, you know, Hulk getting angry and stuff like that. So in this case, he's getting angry when his allies are being hit. And then while taunting, he gets a 250% extra resistance boost. So it's kind of neat, you know, it's a nice nod. You know, you could have Cap, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, and then have a 5th character on the side. Again, there's adjustments to Iron Man and Thor, but you know, whether or not you actually really want to do that is another, and we'll take a look really quick what they changed from him. And so here we go, the special here now gets improved to 300% unavoidable damage here when you have Cap, so it's that team up attack extra damage, so that's from 250 to 300. It's a little minor adjustment, so not too much here. And I think, does passive get changed? I think, yeah, there was here a little bit of a boost here. So now the new one, so he's getting gain 5% damage for each power armor or Wave 1 Avenger ally. So it boosts his own damage. But again, whether or not you want to actually use him in the Wave 1 Avenger team, I think that's going to depend on where you're at with your roster, and whether, I don't know if I would personally pull him out of the power armor team or not, you know, because I think he's fine where he is. But you know, if you're in, depending on what part of the game you're in, you know, this actually gives you different options of where to use them, which is nice. Since he does have the team up attack anyways, and so Thor has a little bit of an adjustment as well, very minorly. A lot of his things just now improve with the Wave 1 Avenger. So this is the oh crap. If we go back to where the passive was, that's not Thor. Where's Thor? Here. Okay, so this is the passive for Thor here. So if anyone remembers what Thor does, he gains the charges, and then he lets loose when he gets 5 charges, and that was usually to do with the Asgardian. So now he's getting some of his damage boosts for Wave 1 Avengers as well, and then he's getting the healing thing with Wave 1 Avengers, and then he's also getting the charges as well from Wave 1 Avengers allies whenever they get hit. So basically this transfers over everything that Thor already had on his passive, but instead of Asgardians, it's Asgardians or Wave 1 Avenger if you want to. Again, I'd really recommend just using him in the Asgardian team because I think he's fine where he is. But if you're a newer player and you have these Wave 1 Avenger characters unlocked, but you don't have a full team of the others, then this would give you a good reason to want to use characters like Thor and Iron Man outside of their traditional teams. So I think that's good for, you know, newer and mid-game players. I don't think I'm going to be moving them personally myself around there though. And we do actually have some details of the appearances for other characters that we mentioned in the video. So characters like Shocker, I'm going to pause this here. So this is actually, oh, you can't even, some of it's chopped off. Let's move that down a bit. Can I move this up, down? There we go, I think. So we can see a bit more of Shocker here. So this is actually the female version of Shocker, the model that they're using for that. I think I might be able to pull this down even a little bit further. Hold on, let me fix my recording here. So here we go. So we get the female version of Shocker here, and then on top of that there were actually some stuff from in-game as well. There were some new videos. So here we have the this is what the in-game icons look like for both Swarm, Electro, and Doc Ock. This is the avatar icons for them. And then there was actually a little bit of a gameplay footage that I wanted to show really quick. This is Swarm looking pretty cool here with his model. Actually, I am very looking forward to Swarm. I'm not looking forward to the fact that he hurts himself, but I think that once Doc Ock and him come together, I think they're going to be really good characters. And I think the model actually looks really good given how little I knew about him beforehand. But I wanted to show off, there was a wee clip here of in-game here. Is it here that I wanted to show off really quick with them jumping down? Is it here? So we're gonna play this really quick here. Yeah, here we go. And so this is some of the in-game footage of the Sinister Six in action, and they're looking pretty cool. And so this is Shocker's, Electro's animations on 1x. Looking pretty cool, fighting the other Spider-Verse characters there. One thing that the game does do really well is in their animation departments. Although some people have been complaining lately, of course, that Emma Frost's model weren't really all that great, but hopefully they've redeemed themselves here with the Sinister Six. And you can see Swarm a little bit in the background there too. And so we got another little clip here too in the video about all of them together. So that's the new characters here. And that's the special from Doc Ock, summoning Shocker because he's top of the list there. And we have, what do we have? Electro here, and that's the ultimate, I think, there, hitting everyone. Applying that offense down, which I think is going to be really great. Because it's 2-turn offense down, I think, as well, isn't it? So that's going to make a pretty huge difference. I think Electro is a really good character. And Swarm, well, I think his kit is really good. I think he's just really reliant on Doc Ock, which kind of drags him down a little bit. But let's see some of his animations here. Release the bees! So I really think the bee mechanic is kind of funny. The bee thing. And then he's losing the charges, of course. So, yeah, we'll go through this. Really, is there more here? I want to see another Swarm move. We get another move from Doc Ock here, and that's the ultimate there with the AoE. And then we get Electro again, and that's the special, I think. So that's a lot of extra damage with the positive effects as well. And then we get the other move from Swarm, looking really cool there with the bleeds. Wow, and then he just like reappears, I guess. That's really cool. That's really cool. So I can't wait, guys, because I'm really looking forward to some of these characters. I'm really looking forward to building my Sinister Six back up. I haven't really decided who I'm going to use. Rhino. Is it going to be Rhino and Mysterio for the extra 2? Is it going to be Green Goblin? I honestly don't know who I'm going to be using. So let me know in the comments below what kind of Sinister Six characters you think you're going to be using together, because it might be based on red stars. If you have a huge red star Sinister Six character, I would recommend that. But part of me is wondering, do you need a tank? Do you necessarily need a tank? Maybe it depends on where you're going to be using them, on offense or defense. But yeah, we'll just have to see, guys, and see how it turns out. So I was going to say that was a bit of a quick video, but it really wasn't. I just wanted to get this out really... I just wanted to get this out for you guys, instead of having to wait till tomorrow or something like that. So I hope that you found some of this informative, and if you did, then great. Leave a comment in the section below what you guys are planning to do with the Sinister Six as well. Are you guys going to be unlocking Swarm? Are you going to be going hard on his event to get him? Personally, I'm not too sure. Like I said, I'm really disappointed that Swarm looks to be kind of somewhat locked behind being used with Dr. Octopus, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe I just need to try him in matches in general to see how it ends up looking like. But Electro does look really good, and Doc Ock looks really good as well, of course. And then once we find out the date for Doc Ock, that's going to be really important to know if any of us have chances to unlock him if you don't have the X-Force at 5 stars. So that's going to make a pretty huge difference. But thanks everyone for watching, and of course, if you like this video, then please leave a like down below, and I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So everyone take care, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylon signing out.